During my homily a few weeks ago, I mentioned that I recently attended a forest bathing retreat, a nature immersion, near Asheville, North Carolina. During our last full day, our retreat leader invited us to sit next to a stream, and when we were ready, to breathe and whisper into the water, something we wanted to remember from our retreat. Thinking of a tree I had particularly bonded with, I leaned in and whispered to the babbling brook, "May I always remember we breathe together." As we celebrate Pentecost, I invite us to breathe together, as Jesus and the disciples did in the gospel, as we consider ways the Spirit moves within, around, and through us in our life. Let's begin by asking ourselves, what helps us to breathe? Certainly, breathing in fresh, clean air boosts our energy and outlook, as does breathing in beauty, whether colorful spring flowers or the lush wardrobe of a forest. Breathing in sound, whether the symphonic sounds of the birds or the energy of a musical piece, creates movement within us that could be invigorating and electrifying, or reflective and peaceful. Breathing in genuine love from family and friends offers us an embrace that allows us to grow and be who we are. An intentional contemplative moment also helps us to breathe. As a brief illustration, I'm part of a regional leadership team for Roman Catholic women priests that meets monthly. Before the business portion of our meeting is an agenda item called breathing space, where we reflect on a spiritually focused question or quote prior to the session, and then when we meet, we share about it. This contemplative moment offers us the space to breathe deeply together. The Spirit of God, in all these ways and more, breathes life into everything. Let us remember with intentionality to breathe in life-giving moments so that we can breathe out our giftedness in service to the world. I'd now like to share a story that leaves me breathless every time I think about it. This account was portrayed in the movie 13 Lives by Ron Howard. It's about the dramatic rescue of 13 members of a youth soccer team from Thailand, and how the Spirit of God breathed in and through so many during that extraordinary experience. Does anyone remember this event, or perhaps have read the book or seen the movie? Okay, so a number of us are familiar with it. In June 2018, the team members ranging in age from 11 to 17 and their 25-year-old coach, after playing in a soccer game, began exploring a well-known cave in northern Thailand. After caving for about an hour, they turned back and began to go back to the beginning. As they began the return, however, they found the puddles they had crossed on the way in had become deep, fast-moving water. The monsoon rains arrived a few weeks earlier than usual at the exact time they were in the cave. They retreated to a flat surface in a high section of the cave, where they were able to breathe easily and drink water from the stream below. The coach kept the boys calm, reassuring them and leading them in Buddhist prayers and chants. Although the space was confining physically and circumstances were mentally and emotionally challenging, they breathed in peace as they supported one another. For 10 days, experts from Thailand and countries throughout the world gathered to help in various ways. Water management experts, a local man who had created a detailed map of the cave, and 2 of the world's best cave divers, both from Great Britain, worked together on an initial attempt to find the boys. The cave divers successfully reached them after a harrowing journey and assured them they would return and bring them all to safety. When the divers came back and reported the good news that the boys were alive, the breath of God, already swirling, began moving in ever more intricate, deep, and extraordinary ways. Cooperation among many governmental agencies, the cave divers, the medical team, the Thai Navy SEALs, rescue system experts, and others was essential to a successful rescue. They engaged in creative problem solving as they strenuously debated different response options. The team eventually overcame huge logistical challenges and obstacles and concerns to lay out a workable yet daring rescue plan. The enormous amount of breath that was exchanged in these discussions was immense, and the spirit was embodied in all of it. The plan required 12 divers working over 3 days to bring them all out. The route contained narrow underwater passages, as well as terrain that was treacherous to cross. Hundreds of spare oxygen tanks were placed throughout the cave to help minimize the risk of running out of air. The boys would need to be sedated and their depressed breathing checked at various points along the way. This was an intricate experience. In the end, after an exhausting yet exhilarating effort, all the boys and their coach were successfully rescued from the cave. As more than 175 rescuers from Thailand and the international community worked together, the world breathed hope and life into their efforts as they prayed that all would be well. This breathing together moment shook the foundations of community, as William Loder's writing, Wind, Wind, reminded us today. And Pentecost vigorously emerged. This gratifying and amazing experience of breath left the world breathless. Every one of us has experienced Pentecost moments in our family, our place of work, our neighborhood or faith communities, and the wider world. Whether moments of joy and celebration, ones that are ordinary and routine, or times that are challenging or sad, the Spirit is moving in all of them. As we walk through this week of Pentecost, intentionally pause to breathe in life and breathe out your giftedness to the world in whatever way you feel called. For God, love, is within us and with us in every breath. I invite us to close by breathing in and breathing out, remembering always that we breathe together.